Hey guys, what's up? Today is the day. It's my first YouTube video ever. I never really knew where I wanted to go with this, how I wanted to make my first video, what route I wanted to go. Like, did I just want to film, parts of me working on cars and say, hey, I put this coilover kit on and I did this and this? Or did I want to do sort of like a blog series like I'm doing now? I decided completely for the blog series, basically because I noticed every YouTube channel I follow are all blog series. And I absolutely love it because you get a lot more than just the hobby. You get a lot more than just the cars. You actually get to know that person. So like, for instance, Haggard Garage. I've followed Haggard Garage for a long time, long time. And they just posted a video of Cam and Orion drifting. It's two of the members of Haggard Garage. And Cam spun out, Orion smashed into him. Cam's car got totaled, and they posted a video of the drift event and then posted all the memories from the S13 and yada yada yada. It was honestly sad. Like, I swear my heart hurt for probably 2 hours. It like ruined my night, So that's basically the route I'm gonna go with this. So long story short, I was into Jeeps my entire life, and when I was in school, I went to automotive tech school, Wyotech in Pennsylvania. When I was in school, I met a really good friend, Shane, and he was into drifting, and I was so, amazed by it because I always wanted to get into it. But one, my parents are huge muscle heads, judging by the 69 Roadrunner behind me. And two, I had no idea what I was doing. Like, oh my God, importing engines from Japan and blah, 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 all this crazy stuff. I had no idea how to do it. So he had a bone stock KA 240. It was basically lowered wheels, exhaust, that's it. And I had a 92 BMW that I wanted to autocross. And he's like, dude, why don't you just drift that? And I was like, I don't know if a BMW would be very good. So we got to watching video after video after video, and we found out basically BMW is the S chassis of Euroland. So we were like, shit, I'm gonna try it. So we caged it, we threw it on some super cheap coils, threw a Kirky seat in it, harness, hydro, welded the diff, and boom, drift car. So my first season, I actually did a lot better than what I thought I was gonna do. I still absolutely, I'm horrible. I can make it around the track 75% of the time without spinning out, but I'm basically gonna, it was my first season. I've never slid a car before. So I got rid of my BMW and I got a 240. Now, I got the 240 from one of my friends. He got two 240s, gave me one, because it was literally a completely bare shell, nothing in it, no wiring, no engine, no trans, no doors, no front end, like literally nothing. So I put the whole thing together and I was gonna drift it. A bunch of stuff happened that basically wouldn't allow me to drift it. So I went out and I got a 98 street car. So I had my fun in that, whatever. It's a pretty cool daily driver. I'm gonna leave it KA basically forever because it's super reliable. So I picked up another shell, a 96, and it's like stupid clean. It had front end damage on it. Now the damage was basically just to like the core support and the front wheel wells. So I decided, I'm gonna build a drift car. Like, I want to do it. I have the knowledge to do it. I have a little bit of fab skill, whatever. If it's not perfect, whatever. I just want to drift, and I want to drift something good. I want to drift something with at least a little bit of power. So whatever, I went for it. Basically completely stripped the car, sent it over to my buddy Nate Churchill at Misfit Auto Works, and he did an amazing job on the cage. FD legal, full cage, NASCAR style door bars. Like, he did an amazing job. Now, I did build the cage in my BMW. The only reason I couldn't in this car is because basically the one I built in the BMW was completely illegal for any sort of sanctioning body. Now, this car I want to make as legal as possible for as many places as possible because I really would like to compete with this car eventually. I'm super far from ever being able to compete with anybody for that matter. I've never tandem, I've never, done any of that shit. So it's going to be a huge learning process. I've met a lot of cool people along the way, through all the Club Loose 2 events and whatnot. Met a couple pro-ams, and they like the drifting community is just amazing. Everybody's super friendly. Actually, one of my first events, my BMW, it had a parasitic draw, and I left the battery hooked up. So my first event, Fred St. Hilaire actually let me use one of his batteries out of his drift car. So it was super badass because he's like a pro-am dude, like 10 grand, if not probably more, definitely more in his car. So it's just awesome. Now we'll take a quick look at the 14, where it's at, what I want to do with it, and I guess that concludes the first video. So this is the 96. This is the car I'm building for this season. Huge shout out to Nate at Misfit Auto Works for the cage. It's full FD spec legal. I basically just wanted to make it as legal as possible for all sanctioning bodies. The only thing I need to do is I need to build the intrusion bars for the front. I'm just going to build those myself because they don't have any bends or anything in them. So I can notch them all out perfectly, weld the plates on the floor, whatever. The front end had damage. It originally did have the front wheel wells and everything. Here's the passenger, or the driver's side one, and you can see it's a little bit buckled where it was. The core support and everything twisted, but the frame rail stayed straight. So I basically cut everything back to where I needed it, and I'm gonna obviously plate the front strut towers right here, and then tube the front end down to the frame and whatnot. Today's goal is to get rid of all this body sealer and basically pinch weld the whole front. And then another day when hopefully it's warmer soon. It's like 28 degrees today. I want to clean the whole bay up and get it painted. I just want it to look a little bit nicer. I'm not any sort of scene kid or looking for looks or whatever. So the interior is completely bare. The way I got the sound deadening out, I did really stupid. I really should have got dry ice, but I was stubborn and I was like, I'm not spending money on dry ice. So I used a heat gun and a gasket remover, and it left like all that glue that looks absolutely horrible. So I need to get a wire wheel, which I got, and I'm gonna get all that shit out of there. So basically this is it as of now. I have a whole shitload of parts on the way, and it should be, I honestly should have it done before this season. I got a 1J for it, 1J VVTi, for Tony Martin at Freedom Motorsports, and I guess we'll see what this can do. I'm gonna leave it completely bone stock this season just because I want to limit the handicap of power on the vehicle, because I learned with the BMW at 160 some horse, and I really want to learn this thing, at whatever the 1J will put out stock. I'm going to run it right around 10 pounds, nothing crazy, whatever. And I went with a W58. I was going to go with an R154, but the price difference is just insane. So this is basically the introduction to the video. I'm gonna grind some of this stuff off. I just picked up this grinder. I got it from Harbor Freight because I'm poor, but got a couple of these, the body sanding disc, 40, are they 40 grit? Yeah, 40 grit. So I guess we'll see how these go. I can sort of turn it into a review for you guys too. So yeah, I'll get all the body sealer off, and then we'll see where I'm gonna go from there. Alright guys, so I'm actually really impressed with the Harbor Freight grinder. With this, what the hell is it called? A flat disc. With the flat disc, I basically did the entire front end, and it doesn't look like it's like completely tore up. I was using the edge a lot, so that's pretty much gone, but besides that, I mean, I got the all the seam sealer out of basically both strut towers and cleaned off the front of both end rails on it. So that basically is it for the front end today. I actually might try to sit the 1J in it because I've been reading all kind of different ways about people fitting rear sumps in instead of front sumps. I don't know like what it's going to do with like the power steering lines or rack, you know, I don't know what's going to be in the way. So I have my engine mounts and I might sit the 1J in today. I guess we'll see. So now I'm going to move on to the interior, using the grinder and get all that glue and all that bad stuff out of there so I can go ahead and paint the interior. Basically from then on, it's just a matter of installing the seat, harnesses, all the wiring harness and stuff. I'm gonna put the body harness back in it just because this may be a street car. I don't know if I'm gonna go like complete crazy with it yet, so we'll see. So I didn't know if you guys could really see the like amount of glue that was on this interior from the outside of the car, so I'm just gonna give you a quick look. Like literally there's glue everywhere in this thing. Really wishing I would have, you know, went dry ice or whatever, but it looks horrible and paint isn't gonna seat on it, or if it does, it's gonna look like total ass. So we're gonna go ahead and get rid of all of the glue from the sound deadening. Alright guys, so I got a lot of the glue that you can see out. It looks like crap in the video, but it actually looks pretty decent in person. I got all of the front body seam, all that stuff off. I was going to throw the 1J in just to see, you know, just like all my clearances and everything, and get a couple pictures or whatever. So I was throwing the excessive mounts on, and to get the excessive mounts on, you actually have to pull some of the oil lines off the turbo and a couple brackets to go up the exhaust bracket or the exhaust manifold and stuff. And then on the other side, it actually looks like a complete pain in the ass. I don't know how I'm gonna get the one bolt. It's like up behind the oil filter, like where the oil filter screws on, it's behind that like housing. But anyways, when I pulled this side off, when I pulled this banjo bolt out for one of the oil lines, I don't know if you can see it in the video, I kind of cleaned it off, but like it had so much sludge on it you could barely even see the threads. Same thing when I pulled off the oil filter, like it was just completely filled with sludge, so I kind of got worried. So I pulled the valve covers just to check it out, and there's no like, it's not the cleanest engine I've ever seen, but I don't see any real like sludge buildup. Like there's some sludge and stuff around the cam cap bolts, but I mean nothing horrible. I do not, like if I feel down in the bottom of the head and stuff, there's no sludge or anything down there. There's just like nastiness, not like what I would consider sludge. Now it still kind of worries me. I don't really know if I should pull this engine apart or not before the season. I think I may just run it like it is and hope for the best. So anyways, on these mounts, stock K mounts go up through these engine mounts, and I do not have a set. So I'm gonna have to order a set so I can bolt them up to the cross member, throw this big turd in there, check like oil pan clearances and everything, because this is a front sump. I see all kind of rear sumps for sale, like everywhere in this bottom half of the block. So that kind of worries me. I've never really read up on the sumps, so I don't know if my front sump's gonna work. Judging based off the cross member where that bolts up and where the oil pan is, everything should clear, maybe with some slight modification to the cross member, which is not legal in like 99% of sanctioning bodies. But I don't plan on running anything except for Club Loose 2 this year, so I should be good there. Besides that, that's probably about it for the night. I'm gonna call it quits because it's ridiculously cold. So I will come back out tomorrow, and I guess we'll go from there. Alright guys, I hope you liked my first video. Sorry there wasn't like a lot of video of me working or whatever. I'm just by myself today. So, kind of bummed out about finding that quote-unquote sludge in the engine, because I just expected it to be like ridiculously clean, because when I first got it, the outside of the engine was ridiculously clean. So, I don't know. My uncle and my dad had the Roadrunners in here doing all kind of body work and stuff, so there's just like dust and all over it. So yeah, I don't know. I guess I'm gonna talk to a couple of my buddies, see what they think about the sludge and pulling it apart and checking, rod bearings and everything else. So I guess we'll see. All right, guys. See ya.